Hello, fellow YouTubers. Welcome to my second blog. It's just something that's been on my mind since yesterday. I found out yesterday night that my childhood hometown I grew up in is now underwater. Well, half it's flooded, and some of it's completely underwater at this point. And so when you like today, when I find out, like last night, it was like 3 barges had hit the dam in the town Marcells, Illinois, where I grew up. Maybe you've seen it in the news, maybe you haven't. And at first, you know, it seemed like everything was all right, everything was holding, but then a levee in the town failed, and I found out about it, and now the town is flooded. So I spent the day getting a hold of people. Some people I haven't even talked to since like 2009, like 4 years since I've talked to anybody. It's been about since when my dad passed away, almost 4 years ago, ironically enough, was the last time I went through my hometown. My sister still lives near my hometown, and I found out one of my friends moved back in there. A couple of my friends growing up still live there, so I go by it, but I haven't gone through it. And there's so many memories to that town. To give perspective, outside of 7th and 8th grade, where we lived in Rockford, Illinois, basically from the time I was 2 years old till I graduated from high school, I spent all but 2 years of my life there. So all my childhood memories are tied into the town. Well, actually, I graduated from high school in Ottawa, Illinois, the town over. My last year, they closed the high school down, and it's now an elementary school. And ironically, that high school, the levees have given away, and that high school is totally flooded also. Which that brought back memories, because Ottawa, Illinois Township High School, my senior year, at one point, the water level was, and I don't know why they built all these schools in these areas next to the river, off the Illinois River, which they did. But I remember going to school, and they were telling us if it goes over the wall that we'd get sent home. And of course, we were all like, yeah, go over the wall so we can all get sent home, because, you know, you didn't want to be at school then anyway. And it got all the way to the top, and it never went over, so we never got sent home. But I guess it's completely flooded that. And my former high school, which is now elementary school, is also completely surrounded by water right now. And I used to take a 2.5 mile bike ride every morning to school, because it was on the other side of town where I lived at. And I had a lot of memories tied, ironically enough, tied to lunchtime with the high school. And it wasn't there. There were a couple blocks down the road was this place called the Deli. That's what they call it, simply the Deli. They served burgers and hot dogs, and just, you know, they served hot food there. It wasn't a very big place. They had a TV on, and of course the high school girls would go there because they were playing soap operas, you know, mainly Days of Our Lives and stuff, because the girls were into that. And then they had arcade machines, which is why I went. And sometimes I would eat there, and sometimes I would just spend my whole time playing arcade games. Like it was the first time I played Pole Position 2, and Rygar, and Shinobi, and so many great arcade games I played there on my lunchtime. And now that area's partially, you know, underwater. Downtown of that town is actually right now halfway underwater. They just, when I was talking to one of my friends who still lives there, who lives all the way on the very edge of town, who's not have to worry about evacuating right now, they just basically closed off the street where the police station and the fire station were. So right now you can't get through half the town. Half the town's underwater. My childhood home I grew up in, which we sold years ago, when I talked to my best friend growing up, who still owns a house across the street, he said that on Thursday morning that the water was all the way to his sidewalk. So basically, my childhood home I grew up in is obviously surrounded by water right now, because behind my home there's railroad tracks. Then there's a creek that's used to alleviate the river, and then my old yard. So I'm assuming, obviously, since the river's overflowing, obviously the creek is overflowed into the backyard. So, and to be, you know, again, contacting people I talk to in years, contacting family, because you see that stuff on the TV all the time. Like, you know, you're like, oh, I feel bad for them, or you see, like, man, they should have known better or something. But then when it happens to people you know or where you grew up, it just totally blows your mind. Like, one of the areas flooded is downtown. There used to be a place called Carol's Variety, which is no longer there anymore. And they used to serve food and breakfast. They used to sell baseball cards there. They used to sell magazines. And they also, in the very back, in the 80s, they used to have arcade machines. And so that was the first place I played Pac-Man. I played Black Knight, the pinball machine, the original Mario Brothers, Arkanoid, Gradius. So many great memories tied to that place too. And now that place is surrounded by water. And so it's like, wow, I can't believe that whole town could change from what I remember. That with all this flooding, and when the time comes to rebuild, they're going to have to rebuild. A lot of things could possibly be rebuilt. That a lot of my memories and places I know are completely gone. And it's wow, because you never think. I mean, when you leave your hometown, you're like, I'm never going to go back. I don't care. But in a way, you still do care. Like, it's funny how many people I know from high school who left saying they were never going to go back. They want to get out of the town. Most of them actually moved back to our childhood hometown and lived there. And I can only imagine what they're going through. Or their families still live there. So a lot of their memories tied to those houses are now flooded. And now some of them are gone. That they're going to have to completely be torn down. It's just amazing. It blows your mind. So that's all I want to vlog. Just get just thoughts out about it, I guess, in some ways. Just getting the thoughts in my mind out there, because I can't believe that it's basically underwater. And also, Morris, Illinois is also got flooding right now. And my memory tied to there, honestly, is there was a comic book shop there. The first place I ever bought a comic book. It was almost looked like a trailer, but it wasn't. From the outside, it looked smaller than it was on the inside. And in the 80s and 90s, even in the early 2000s, I went there and bought comic books. Not only would they have the DC and Marvel, but they'd have a lot of indie comics. Like, that's where I got a comic that very few people know about called The Last of the Vikings, Summer Special number 3. And in that summer special, the guest stars the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so I used to go there and would go there when I could drive, got my license. I would go over there and buy all kinds of comic books all the time. And now who knows what's going on with that place, So, just amazing. Just blows your mind seeing something like that happens. And so I'll find a link to the actual dam and the barge, because they are up on YouTube, and so you can see an area view of what's going on in my old hometown. So that's all I got to talk about today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Wouldn't be something I never thought I'd vlog about. So I'll talk to you guys again in another video soon.